we are going to introduce one of the important parts of speech as well. If you want to lengthen our sentence, we can actually use this part of speech. Hi, good afternoon. So this is Natalie Halid again. And for today's video, we're going to continue our grammar lesson. The last time that I have shared to you was how to construct simple sentences in a simplest way, wherein we were able to define what is the sentence meaning and what are the two parts of the sentence, which is the subject and the predicate, and how do we identify them in our sentence. And we also identify the two important parts of speech, which is a noun and a verb, which is very essential or very important in writing our complete sentences. So as a short review, we actually explained that when we write sentences, we have to make sure that we have the subject, which is usually from our nouns, names, and we also have to make sure that we have our predicate, which this predicate comes from our verbs and action words. And we also identify the importance of using punctuations, proper punctuations to complete our sentence. We also emphasize that correct sentences begins with a capital letter, and we also identify proper nouns from common nouns. This time, we're going to have that lesson extended, or we are going to introduce one of the important parts of speech as well. If you want to lengthen our sentence, we can actually use this part of speech because this can add words to our sentence. So this time, we're going to discuss what is an adjective. Alright, per definition, adjective describes a noun or a pronoun. So going back, noun or pronouns can be a subject of our sentence. We have to get familiarize ourselves of what is an adjectives, because these adjectives can give color or more meaning to our sentences. So some adjectives, guys, can be color, for example, white, black, blue, pink. Sizes, it can be small, medium, large. Texture, it can be soft, rag, smooth, yeah, those type of examples. However, I just want you to remember two common types of adjectives, which is the attributive adjectives. When we say attributive adjectives, per definition, these adjectives go before the nouns. For example, fresh apple. So the fresh there is an adjective that comes before the noun apple. And then our next type of adjective is what we call predicative adjectives. So predicative from the words predicate, which is, let's give an example for you to understand it. So for example, Elaine is mad. So mad there is our adjective. Per definition here, it goes after the noun and complete a linking verb. So linking verb there is that comes after an adjective. Is mud. So nalito kayo, no? So there, take note of those two adjectives. The attributive adjectives, again, it comes before the noun, tall guy, pretty lady, those things, those examples. And then predicative adjectives, these are the adjectives that can be found on our predicate part of the sentence. Now, the most important topic that I need you to remember when it comes to adjectives is their degree of comparison. So, in English, adjective has 3 degrees of comparison. These are the positive, comparative, and superlative. So, per definition, if you are just describing something, or if you're just describing a person or a thing, we are going to use positive. For example, he is tall, or Carlo is a tall student. There. However, if we are going to apply the comparative degree, that's where we compare two things or two persons. So in our first example, we say, Carlo is tall. If we're gonna make it comparative, using comparative rather, you need to use two persons to compare them. So you can just think of other person aside from Carlo. Let's say James. So James is taller than Carlo. So what happened to our sentence? The tall becomes taller, and we use the word than, as in than. So there, when we compare two things, all you have to do is to add er on your adjective. So the tall there becomes taller, and then use the word than. That's when we compare, or that's how do we construct comparative degree. Now, applying the third degree of comparison, which is the superlative. So, per definition, it's stated here that superlative is the highest quality or degree. So, let's go back to our example. Carlo is tall. Then, comparative. James is taller than Carlo. Now, let's think of another person to for our superlative example. So, you will say, Mario is the tallest. So notice when we are going to create the superlative sentence or degree from er, we are going to just add an est. So they're tall, taller, tallest. Another example, high for the positive, higher for the comparative, and highest for the superlative. However, this is not applied in all cases. There are adjectives when forming the other degrees of comparison, use more for comparative and most for the superlative. Example, positive, beautiful. Elaine is beautiful. Then for the positive degree. And then for the comparative degree, you'll say, Nicole is more beautiful than Elaine. So over here, you are already comparing two persons. Notice the difference. From the word beautiful, we use more. We added the word more, and then the beautiful, and then the word than to compare these two persons or these two ladies. And then for the superlative part, you're just gonna think of one person again. So you will say, Lorena or Lauren is most beautiful of them all. So that's it. So when we think of the adjective lesson, let us always remember that 3 degrees of comparison, and there's a lot of examples of adjectives. As I was saying earlier, it can be size, it can be colors, it can be qualities, it can be negative or positive qualities, attitudes. So there are a lot of examples. So guys, what I want you to emphasize is, what I just want you to remember is, millions of English speakers just used English words. So where these words came from? These words that English speakers are using are just come from the 8 parts of speech. What I'm just trying to emphasize here is familiarizing the 8 parts of speech will help you to understand English language, as well as how to construct simple but effective sentences, or simple but correct sentences. So I hope you learned from today's video. If you're just new to my channel, you can just click like and subscribe, and then don't forget to ring the notification bell for you to be updated on my next video. As we know, in this pandemic, most of the parents like us or like me becomes an instant teacher. So this is our chance to really develop our teaching skills for the benefits of our kids. Thank you so much for watching.